Define Orgulate on Google. Pyramid Heads post is the 7th result, and the first result to include the word instead of similar spellings. Yeah. So I don't know. He's used it twice. He keeps orgulating. We don't know what he's orgulating to.
Stop orgulating over there.
Sorry. I'll get my orgules together.
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome everyone to episode 244 of Born to be Wild, a wild Hearthstone podcast where we have fun, hang out with friends, talking about the wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the wild community. I'm your host, Hydralisk. It's great to be back on this wonderful Wednesday special edition evening here in beautiful British Columbia. I am joined by my fellow host, Schmoopydady.
Happy to be orgulating.
For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday, sometimes Sunday, sometimes Wednesday evening, mostly Fridays on twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug, Schmoopydady. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about Wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Hydra, how's your week?
It was really good, actually. I missed the last episode because I was on a little bit of a trip, and that was really cool. So basically, my wife's sister sends us a message. Actually, it was her husband sends us a message saying like, "Hey, do you guys want to go to Whistler?" And I was like, "That's expensive. I don't know if I want to go to Whistler." And he goes, "Don't worry, we're gonna pay for it." So,
okay.
I guess we're going to Whistler. So
when life gives you Whistler, you go to Whistler.
Yeah, right. Life gives you Whistler. You're gonna go to Whistler. So I put up a couple of pictures here. There's the Olympic Village here because obviously I think they had the Olympics at one point. I think it's 2010. The Winter Olympics were in Whistler. And then here's this, there's like a waterfall. We did this really cool hike. And unfortunately, when we went to Whistler, like the mountain for skiing was actually already closed because it's like May, right? So, but there's so much more to do around there. Going around Olympic Village, there's lots of restaurants and shops and all this sort of stuff. There's hikes. It's beautiful. So you don't need to go there in the winter. If you do look up in that one picture, you can see some of the ski runs on that one side have like snow on it still, which is neat. But
oh, nice.
Towards the bottom there, yeah, there was nothing. Like,
is it like crust? Like you get up there and you're like, oh, this is just fancy ice. I can't actually use this. And then you get to the bottom and it's grass and you're like, oh God,
it's grass. Yeah. Like the bottom, like 1,000 feet is just like all grass. And then above there's, a little bit kind of thing, but it was really cool. Just, whenever we hang out with, my wife's side of the family there, we often just play games. We played a lot of that Monopoly deal game I was talking about before. We played a lot. I showed that to my brother-in-law, and he only wanted to play it. Like, he played it over and over, and he was horrible at the beginning, and then he got like the hang of it, and he just wouldn't stop. Like, we had 10 minutes left of the hotel, and he's like, we got time for one more game. We can play one more game. Like, on the day we're packing up to leave, he's like, we'll play one more.
Scratching his neck. He's like,
Yeah.
got any more of that Monopoly?
Yeah, and then we also played some other games, Ticket to Ride, Sushi Go. I don't know if you played Sushi Go. That game is actually pretty fun. But yeah, we did a lot of that. Eating out's super expensive when you go there. Like, the restaurants are. It's kind of like you buy a steak for like $80 kind of thing. So
Gotcha.
We did do that. But yeah, overall, it was a great experience. And then I have this coming weekend, my parents are visiting, so we've moved the show, kind of just did like a midweek one instead to sort of satisfy having the episode somewhere. Right?
Yeah, understandable.
My Whistler trip, it was pretty fun. We did a hike. Also, I got tied up and put on the train tracks here, so just thought I'd share this image with you guys.
Your hands in your pants?
No, that's my hoodie. It's like tied around. It's tied around my hands. So
Why are his hands in his pants?
they're not in my pants, Schmoopy. Ugh. So the idea behind this was I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption, and we were walking along these train tracks, and you get like an achievement for doing this in the game by like tying someone's hands and putting them on the tracks, and then if they get hit by the train,
you tie someone's hands in real life, and it gives you an achievement in the game. The technology is amazing.
So we were walking along these train tracks, and I felt that I needed to get the real life achievement. But believe it or not, it was way harder to get up from this position than you would think. When I made my wife tie my hands up, of course, and then when I was like going down like onto my knees and then laying on my stomach on all these abrasive rocks, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stand up from this.
You might not be. Yeah.
I was
You're kind of stuck there.
I
guess that's the idea, right? It's like they're tying you up, and they're like, all right, well, we're going to leave you here for the train.
Yeah. Yeah, it was way harder to get up than I thought it was going to be. But yeah. So, quick King Corner. I finished The Green Mile. I was talking about that. Such a good book. Such a good book. And then my wife and I watched the movie together, and it definitely holds up. Obviously, it cut some of the stuff out from the book, but in general, it's like it's a masterpiece, right?
I don't think I've ever sat down and watched the whole thing. Maybe I need to.
You should. It's long. It's 3 hours and 8 minutes.
I know it's long. Yeah, I know it's long.
And my wife and I intended on only watching like the first half or so, and then we were gonna go to bed. But we watched the entire. Like we couldn't stop because it was that good.
Riveting.
And I hadn't seen it basically since it came out. So it was super cool. And then I moved on to 2 other books. Physical book. I am reading The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. That's right here.
Physical book? What is this?
Yes.
Who are you?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I'd like to have like two
for that.
2 going at the same time, right? I'm about like a third of the way through the book, a quarter, third, something like that. Anyway, basically it's about this 9-year-old girl that goes hiking with her mother and brother, and the mother and brother are arguing a bunch, and this girl's in the back, and no one's paying attention to her because they're too busy fighting, and she ends up having to go to the washroom. She goes off the side of the trail on this hike to go to the washroom and ends up getting lost. And it's about a girl who is just lost in the forest.
Nice.
So it's just a scary experience of her. And Tom Gordon is a baseball player, and she, I guess, I haven't got this far into the book yet, but she has a Walkman with her with a like FM receiver, AM FM receiver. She's listening to a baseball game, and her favorite baseball player is playing. And I guess she ends up, when she's lost, she sort of like forms this imaginary version of him, and she talks to him to try to like help her out of the situation. And that's like the idea behind the book. Only about a quarter of the way through, but pretty interesting so far. I've just got to the point where she's really, really lost and has no idea what she's going to do. And she's coming up on her first night to stay in the woods by herself. So super cool. The other one, the audio book that I am reading is Dreamcatcher. So this gets me into the 2000s. I think this book was like either 2000 to 2001. The year
The
came
aughts. We've broken
So-
into the aughts.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
We survived Y2K.
People have probably, maybe, I don't know if you've seen this movie. This one came out back then. It's got Jason Lee in it as one of the main characters, you know, like Earl from My Name is Earl, that guy. Also professional skateboarder.
I
He's
probably
like
would
the guy
recognize him if I saw him.
he's the guy who pioneered the 360 flip. He's in a bunch of
I used to
movies
know
and
that
TV
fact.
shows. Like, yeah, Jason Lee, he's a super cool dude. He's the guy from Mallrats. If you've seen Mallrats.
Oh, yeah, Mallrats.
Yeah. Anyways, he's in this movie along with some other guys. It didn't have the best rating as a movie. I think it got slammed by critics, but the book is like everything makes sense for like the first half, and I'm in the latter half of the book, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know if Stephen King decided to start doing drugs again, or like what when he was writing this, but I can't. It's really hard to follow. Like, I almost feel like I need to be taking what he was having, so
Yeah.
I could like
Help
understand.
commune. It is about dream catching, so I imagine it's a little bit spiritual and a little bit vague and a little bit.
It's super hard to follow. It's like an alien story, like an alien invasion story, which you don't get from the cover or the
This
name.
is not what I would expect. No.
No. It has the classic like coming of age story of like how they do sort of an It, where there is the kids version of them and then there's the adults version of them.
Oh, gotcha.
Is of the main cast in the story, and it goes back and forth between that, and so everything's slowly unraveling and you're figuring things out that you don't understand. I'm hoping by the end of it I will understand. I'll probably just watch a YouTube video after explaining to me why I'm idiotic and didn't understand half of it. But yeah, it's one of those that since I'm listening to, I keep hitting the rewind 30 seconds button on Audible because can you say that again? Because
He's doing what to the?
yeah, I don't know. But overall, super cool. And I remember this movie coming out like when I was in high school. And so it's kind of cool to revisit this and actually read the book. Hearthstone wise, we're in the middle of that battleground/arena event that's going. I can't remember the name of the event. It's like save the something from something, whatever the event is called.
Save the
but-
salad dressing. Yeah, I don't know.
Save the salad dressing. It was
People
320 calories. Just eat the lettuce.
I asked Chat, I was like, why are you calling it salad dressing, Miracle Rogue? And so because people can't spell Saladrasil. So like they do the best they can in Twitch chat and they just type out salad dressing. And I can't think of a more Zoomer thing to possibly do to take like the most brutal of shortcuts.
But you're also a teacher, and you're probably like, learn to spell the word noob.
That would actually be words out of my mouth. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the sort of vibe I am. Yeah, I'm like, guys, a period does not mean the sentence is forceful. That just means it's good punctuation. And for God's sake, stop writing your message in the title section.
See? Grumpy Daddy. Oh, man. Someone should write that on your
Grumpy
chalkboard.
Daddy.
If anyone of your students is listening,
My
someone
rules,
sneak in
my
the classroom.
rules.
Someone sneak into his classroom a little early and write Grumpy Daddy on the top left side
Please
of the
don't.
chalkboard.
No, I hope they never find this podcast. Please don't. don't curse me with that.
By the way, Schmoopy Daddy's real name is... Just kidding. Just
Right. Find him at this area code.
yeah, the event basically, yeah, it's working as intended. I am playing Battlegrounds and Arena. You know how we joke around about how I don't have a lot of experience with Druid decks. Well, that really became obvious when I had to draft a Druid Arena deck, and I proceeded to go 0-3, which was absolutely brutal. I mean, from the tier list that I looked at, Druid wasn't ranked really high anyways in Arena when I was looking at it.
I imagine the imbue is like kind of okay when you could draft a bunch of imbues, but now I don't know. Like, would you go dragons? Is that the way you're supposed to go with Druid? Are you supposed to do like lots of dragon stuff?
Probably. I was having a really hard time trying to come up with some synergies. It wasn't working.
If it's not priest, or like you high rolled, you're out of your mind with mage. I've been doing okay with demon hunter. Weirdly enough, like the demon hunter cards are all very like facey. And like there's a lot of with like the death rattle stuff. There's a lot of really sticky boards. And one of the best things I feel like you can normally do in Arena is because of the swing turns, but at the same time, it's like swingy, but it's not swingy. Like you notice swings much more in Arena. Like over trading is a lot safer and probably a better idea in Arena than it is in Constructed. So like if you play more, like pushing face damage doesn't matter as much because you can just sort of grind the opponent out of resources and you have no idea what they have. Like unless you're at a spot where you really feel like you can race, it's usually just better to trade. So I'm usually over trading. So it's like almost like you need to learn a different style to play Arena. I don't. Demon Hunter though feels like you can just sort of go face. Like you just sort of go face, and like it's rare for there to be a deck that feels like that in Arena. So I've been doing okay with Demon Hunter, but yeah, Druid, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Druids, so I imagine I can understand you going 0-3, and wouldn't feel bad about it because like just sometimes you just get cooked.
One of the funniest things about it too was I was in my last game. I was versing someone that was emoting at like every little thing that I did, like that was a mistake and like all this stuff. And I'm thinking like, listen, bud, I'm here because I'm 0-2, and so are you. So like, why are you so aggressive and like talking so much crap?
Because your run's gonna end and mine's not. I'm going places. You wait.
Like you're doing just as bad as I am.
Yeah.
and like being so like toxic with the emotes. It was so funny. I was like,
they wouldn't be playing you if they cared more about playing than the BM. I used to find that about like back when we could tell where you were on the wild ladder. Nobody BMs like wild players in gold. Wild players in gold are some of the most artful BM enthusiasts I've ever seen, playing every single card until you find the exact lethal that they just top decked and playing that copy as opposed to another copy that I know they have in their hand because I watched them generate it. Right, like just like truly like Leonardo da Vinci levels of BM, and like they all suck and can't get out of gold. And the entire reason why I'm positive is because they're so totally worried about causing as much mental damage as possible that they're not actually getting better at Hearthstone. Which, like, in fairness to them, they shouldn't get better at Hearthstone. They should just get luckier. I've emphasized this fact in the past. Stop trying to get good and just get luckier. But like, yeah, it really doesn't work out, and it's a bad look.
All right, but yeah, that was basically my week, and I am just about done because we just got access to the last quest in the event. What is it, like play 200 of something?
I did it last night. I don't know. I didn't even do the last quest. I was like,
Oh, did you? Oh, nice. Yeah, I think it would be pretty easy just playing a game or two of Battlegrounds if you're just like cycling constantly. You'll probably. I think if you play like BGs. No. Well, it said because you could play Arena too.
Played a little Arena.
For them,
I did play a little Arena. Yeah.
Yeah, but I figured I'd finish that up maybe after the show or tomorrow morning. Get that up. It sounds like a pretty easy one for a final quest. So that's pretty sweet, and that'll just throw me over the edge. But that's my week. how about you? How was your week?
It's all right. We're doing some. I'm coaching some tryouts for soccer in the fall for Schmoopy's age group, and if we can get him still interested in soccer, I'll be coaching him in soccer. He's like, oh man, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make the team, and he's like psyching himself out. And then like we have tryouts today, and there's 3 children show up. And the guy who's running the whole program's like, yeah, we got 7 loaded up. So, like, there's going to be 7 of us. So I'm like, all right, fine. So, Schmoopy doesn't have a whole lot to worry about. We don't have to do any cuts. We can just, like, bring everyone on board and see how it goes. So that's your Schmoopy update of things. From last week, I did, in fact, get Day 1 Legend. I was playing mostly extra large Call to Arms Paladin and making minor adjustments along the way. I had about a 66% win rate. And then I hit, like, post D5, I hit a crazy batch of Shadow Priests. I just started queuing Shadow Priest bot after Shadow Priest bot after Shadow Priest bot. I'm like, okay, I'm winning most of these with Call to Arms Paladin. But what if I won all of them? And so I swapped back to my Odin Warrior, which just farms Shadow Priest like crazy. And went something like 13-2 for the final push for an easy legend. It was actually it was so funny because I was streaming the final push because I was like playing all day, didn't quite hit. And then, like, off-stream, I switched to Odin. I did pretty well. And then, like, on-stream, I was at, like, D2. And I was like, okay, guys, I'm going to go hit Legend with Odin Warrior. And I played literally, I think, like, 6 Shadow Priests in a row. I didn't even turn it into a YouTube video. Because it's literally just me just kind of, like, I don't know. I think I was drinking a beer. I was, like, half paying attention. I was mostly, like DJing for chat. And, like, talking with chat. And, like, oh, well, there's a board clear. I'll play this now. Well, yeah, let's gain some armor now. Ooh, can we get the sanitized lethal on the brain masseuse? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, we got it. All right. And like the legend climb was so like the game I hit legend was like I had like the perfect hand. It was a bot. It's just so stress free. And then we went and played Brawl.
Well, that's
like
nice.
We went and played Brawl for like 45 minutes. Because the Brawl was degenerate. It was like Blood Magic, I think. And so we were playing like APM comps and no, it wasn't Blood Magic. It was Yellow Brick Road. And so we were doing like degenerate things in like Tavern Brawl. You like half your minions, if you play a minion on one side of the permanent minion fixture, it has taunt. The other side it has charge. And you could do some stupid stuff in that format. You could do some really, really stupid things. So there's only like 10 card decks too. So like we were doing stuff like we were doing.
That's right.
We were like guaranteeing getting like Ceaseless Lava Gorger for plus 125 armor while also setting up an infinite Velen. And like my standard opponent is like trying to play like hand buff DK and just like ramming into the Velen over and over and over and over again. The Velen keeps coming back. They're not getting it. They're not getting it that it keeps coming back. And I'm like, do they have any outs in standard? It didn't even matter. I had like 400 health. Like it was just so stupid. It was so stupid. Like among other ridiculous comps, we made a hostage mage. Miracle Rogue was really good. Someone later in the YouTube comments suggested like Holy Wrath was a good choice. I could have seen that as being a good one. It was fun though. It was fun. So like hit Day 1 Legend, yay! Mostly with Call to Arms Paladin, but then mostly capped it off with Skipper. And then on a more personal like streaming note, I was reminded that it had been 2 weeks and that I hadn't done like a best decks like meta report video. And I try to do like one every 2 weeks or so about something. Either if it's not best decks, it's budget decks. It's just something like me sort of yapping, talking about decks that are wild. And so somebody on Reddit was just like, oh, well, like, who do I actually watch for wild content? Like, who does these meta reports anymore now that Tempo's gone? And people were getting suggested, and I got suggested a little bit. And I was just like, all right, sure, I'll make sure I throw something together. So I threw something together. I put it up. It was like 25 minutes. And I don't know what's different this time. I don't know if it's a combination of, like, I've hit a critical mass of getting X amount of subscribers and people who like immediately see my content and then watch it. But I went from, like, on the first I hit 800 people subscribing on the channel, and I was like, okay, that's really cool. It's a little mini milestone, yay. Today I'm at like 53. Like, I've had like 30 plus people like subscribe in the space of 6 days, and I've never had a pop off like that.
Wow.
So that's really cool, and I'm really close to 1K. 1K is like the special number. You start getting monetization for commercials and stuff. So I'm excited to. At one point, I was just like, when I started the channel last April, I'm like, there's no way I'm getting there. Like, who's gonna care? Who's gonna care enough that they're gonna actually want to watch me flail about in the wild format? But it's been that's been kind of cool, and that was like a neat thing. And tonight our discussion topic is a little bit of the wild meta, so it's nice because I'm kind of a little bit already got a little bit of a script going. The other funny thing that I did was Stream Elements pinged me in the Twitch client, and it's just like, hey, you got new sponsorship offers. And so, like, look at the sponsorship offers, and a large portion of my stream audience are gacha gamers. Like, they love, like, God, what's an example of a gacha game? Well, one is like, Hawkeye Star Rail or Genshin Impact. Like, these kind of like, you're playing these cute anime characters,
Raid
but
Shadow
it's like
Legends.
really action based. Raid Shadow Legends, not as much, but like because it's not the anime aesthetic that they're kind of looking for, that I think comes with the gacha games
in
thing.
general. Oh, okay.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. So like, but like, you could make a case that Hearthstone's a gacha game because, like, you're opening packs and like there's certain drop rates, and you're just like, they're just the process of like gambaing for the resources that you need.
There's a Trailer Park Boys gacha game that I play. Yeah. I don't spend money on it, but I play it.
That's incredible. So I am the liquor. All right, so I saw this offered. It was like $70 base pay to play like Zenless Zone Zero, and then like X amount of money when people like hit whatever milestones or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, this is like perfect. I'm like, chat, should I do this? And like all the gacha degens are like, yes, do it now. It's actually a good game. Do it now. So I signed up. So there's going to be a Zenless Zone Zero stream at some point, probably on like a crappy Monday or something like that, where I usually don't have a lot of retention anyway. And we'll just go on full gacha degen. Yeah. So that should be pretty pretty fun.
I'm excited to hear how that is for you, because when I used to stream wild myself, like on the regular, I used to get those offers all the time, and I was like, what's the catch? Right? I was like, do I do this? Do I not do it? Like, I don't know. So yeah, let me know how it goes, and if there was a catch.
It's like,
because I never accepted it. It's like, yeah, you could earn this much money by doing this thing, and you would get. They would like sort of tell you ahead of time that like you could earn up to like this amount for playing this game.
No, it's cool because they give you a slide rule, and they're like, okay, well, assume this number of people install it, and then they get to this level, and it's like, it's meant to kind of bait you in and kind of get dollar signs, be like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna do this. The main thing that I see that basically is required from me is a 2-hour stream hyping up the game. I've never played any gacha games, so if like I'm having fun, that shouldn't be too hard, right? And even if I'm not having fun, I'm making sure I have like the Final Union, Zevris, Gimme Lamp, like a couple of other people like in chat with me. So like, even if I'm not enjoying the game, ultimately I can at least fake it by having a good time with people who do enjoy the game. But from what I hear, it's actually a decent game. So that should be fine. and should be a little fun, a little different. But Hearthstone it's almost worth the hit, because like Hearthstone is notorious. People who watch Hearthstone do not want to watch like variety streams in general. They don't want to move off Hearthstone for whatever reason. It's just how they've always been. Even like other card games, they just don't. They watch Hearthstone and that's it. And I'm usually the prototypical. I only watch Hearthstone on Twitch. Like that's it. Like I'm not watching other games. Maybe Lee Acer. I'll watch Lee Acer play WoW, because Lee Acer is who used to play Wild all the time. I like hanging out with Lee. So like, I'll hang out. I'll hit on Lee. We'll joke around. And he'll play WoW, and I'll be like, "Wow, nice like flying purple Muppet bat." And he'd be like, "Schmoopy, what are you talking about? That's a dragon." And I'll be like, I don't know, it's WoW." So I mean, that's coming up. So that'll be fun. I don't know when I'm going to do that. I was going to do it in the middle of the day, and then all the gacha people were like, "No, we either work or are sleeping during those times. Our lucky gacha pulls are at night." So I'll do it like a Monday or something like that, and we'll go from there. All right.
Cool.
Do we have news this week?
Welcome to the news. The news is so good. All right. So unless you've been under a rock in the last, well, I guess since the 28th, so last week, you've most likely heard that the mini set has been announced. So reignite your dreams with the Embers of the World Tree mini set. So standard fare here. Basically, this is getting released on May 13th. So a week from now. There is 38 new cards, 4 legendaries, 2 epics, 16 rare, and 16 commons. You can get this set for $14.99 USD or 2,000 gold. Or if you want the golden version, you can spend $69.99 USD or 10,000 gold. That reminds me, I didn't ever spend my 10,000 gold on the StarCraft mini set yet that I said I was going to.
All the cards got nerfed. You missed out on the like copious amounts of dust.
Well, because I didn't quite hit the 10,000 yet. So I'm over it now. I got like 12,000 gold or something.
I think it's still worth. Honestly, it's still worth. Stuff might get hit, but also I imagine those cards are going to get reverted. They'd be fine in Wild, and like it's going to be like 2 years later. I imagine they're still going to be fine in Wild. Like they were busted in Standard, but they were busted in Standard because they neutered Standard so much that they were like overtuned for what was acceptable, fair, and Standard at the time. So
I still might do it. We'll see. I've been trying to like min max with spending less money on the game than I used to. So it just sort of seemed like irresponsible to spend 10,000 gold on something I already have. But anyway, wholly distracted Hydra. But yeah, so mini set has been announced, but also all of the cards. So the reveal season was a 24-hour period, basically, and they just revealed everything right then and there in the next 24 hours after the announcement was made. So I was just going to ask you, Schmoopydady, I know not everyone is super impressed with these cards in this mini set. What's your first impression? We don't need to get into details about every single card, nothing like that. But what's your impression of these?
It's like more low power level stuff. It feels very in keeping with the same power level as into the Emerald Dream. Like when arguably your best card in the mini set is a like 9-mana payoff dragon that sometimes offs itself because it plays the wrong fire spell. Like it's not ideal. It's not ideal. I'm I don't know. I did a set review of it, and if I was gonna grade it as far as like impact on Wild, it's probably either a 1 out of 5 or a 2 out of 5. And I'm normally the person that is yelling at people, being like, "Listen, mini sets always have more impact than you expect," like the StarCraft mini set did. The StarCraft mini set, like people thought was not going to change Wild at all, and it ended up shoring up a lot of sort of fringe archetypes, and actually did see some play at some point. This is. We have a couple of spells and cards that might slot into things, and honestly, it's been so long, I've sort of forgotten which ones those are. But like, obviously, I'm not all that concerned about anything breaking or going nuts in Wild, because none of it's a whole lot all that impressive. It just kind of is what it is. I do want to say, like, I like the truncated reveal season. I don't like prolonged reveal seasons, because I feel like by the end of the reveal season, you forget what were the first cards that were revealed and how. And since they kind of stagger them, and like, all right, you get some of the 100 cards now, and then some of the 100 cards later, and they don't always reveal them in the right order. So you're like, what is this card is terrible, and then like terrible card A is actually makes sense because 3 other cards that are released later have synergy with it. So I don't like long reveals anyway. I think the short reveal was supposed to coincide with a brand new arena. We were supposed to get a brand new arena this update. They had to push it back. They said it wasn't quite ready. I respect that, honestly. If it's not ready, we'd be losing our minds about the launch if they went ahead with it and rushed it and then it was garbo. So like, I'm okay with waiting, but it is funny how many other things were all lined up, I think, to sort of be like, hey, let's take this moment and celebrate arena. Like all the mini set cards are getting revealed and then they're played in the new arena. We're gonna have this event quest where you have to play arena, and everybody's playing arena, and it makes sense because it's a new arena. Play arena, right? Like it would have lined up more. It felt more like doing a chore again. This was actually felt more like a chore to me than anything, because I don't play BGs. Neon Heron, who we've had on the show, once texted me, next time I try to play BGs, reminded me that BGs causes depression. I was like, okay, yeah, makes sense. And I do play arena, but I didn't play arena at the start of the quest because it wasn't a new arena yet. Like we needed the patch to come to turn over the arena, and I didn't like the previous arena. And this one's okay, I guess. There's a lot of people that hate it because it's like you're playing against priest constantly, which is for some people like an unwaking nightmare. But yeah, no, I was waiting for this arena to come around, and then I played some arena. I had some tickets. I will say that, like, the incremental steps, like, you're getting tickets to like do another arena run, and so by the time that came around, I did my 3 free runs, and now I'm mostly done with the quest, and like, hooray. I don't know. So like, it is a little weird. Like, the mini set's a little low powered, and it's weird that we're celebrating arena, but like arena's on its way out. The new arena's coming, but like it didn't quite line up right. So it's just like a weird spot right now in Hearthstone.
I don't know if do you know the Battlegrounds streamer Chuckmate?
No.
I logged in, and obviously everyone has these Battlegrounds quests and stuff, and so like the new Battleground season had started, and as soon as I logged in, he invited me to do some like BG's lobbies, and he does that on his stream. And I hadn't played or watched his stream in like quite some time, but it was cool that he saw me log in, we're friends, and so he was streaming some lobbies. And that's I enjoy Battlegrounds when it's a group of people, it's kind of fun. We used to do that on the Born to Be Wild channel. Not a lot, but we did it a few times, and just did some like private lobbies with
who used to do those? There's a Wild player though that used to facilitate. What was his name? He was Australian or New Zealand, one of the two. He was either NZ or Aus. Smork. It was Smork. Smork used to do it, remember? And Smork was nasty at BGs, actually. Smork got up into like the 12, 14Ks.
Yeah. But those are fun. Like, it's fun when you're playing with a group of friends, and if you die or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Just fun experience overall. But yeah, so mini set is going to be on the 13th of May. I do like on the announcement post, they've got a lot of the like full-size art, which is really cool. Up next in the news, we have, and this is brought to you by Hearthstone and Imic. So we have a new event that is going to start. If I haven't done the math incorrectly, basically starts as soon as the current event ends. So when this one that we have ends, the next one is going to start. So this is the Embers of the World Tree. And so Imic has posted here on Hearthstone the different rewards that you're going to get and all of the weekly quests. You can see all your different dailies. So we start off with the weeklies. Ashes to Ashes is the first weekly. It's going to be for 400 points. Play 20 cards from the mini set. Okay. It shouldn't be too difficult to do.
No.
Maybe a little harder.
Well, they suck, so maybe.
Wild. It'd be harder in Wild. Just slam every neutral into a deck.
Yeah, you can house
and
it.
then pick the class that has the most. and then play a few games and you should be set.
Can I just read an observation? Can I read an observation from KVLT? KVLT's observation was, well, you see, Shaman's class identity is to have cards released that are non-synergistic and what was it? It was like non-synergistic and low power level. And so in keeping with this set's theme for having unplayable cards, they're both lower power level and unplayable or something along those lines. And I just moved past the Shaman cards. I didn't even review the Shaman cards. I was just like, all right, and with that we move on. I'm a little tongue in cheek. They're actually probably a little better than that, but that's just the general vibe for the set as far as the mini set goes. Not to poo-poos on anybody's mini set, but it's like people are like, oh, new cards, and I'm like, we get like one or two.
That's okay. Just keep playing Shutterwalk Shaman or something. You'll be okay.
Yeah, something like that.
The second stage of the weekly quests, the Great Burning, is cast 150 spells in ranked. Fire spells count twice. That shouldn't be too hard to do, I don't think.
Yeah, Miracle Rogue will do that in like 6 games.
Yeah. So remember, that does say ranked. The first weekly quest does not say ranked. It just says play 20 cards from the mini set. You could probably play whatever the Tavern Brawl is going to be. And
get into a friendly, right? Get in a friendly with somebody, and
or
both
friendly,
just like play it out.
Yeah. And then the final stage is I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, but Fyrax's Army, and that is summon or destroy 500 minions in ranked. Demons, dragons, and dark gifts count 2 times. That's actually quite a bit.
All of this sounds like stuff that you can just hit if you're playing fairly regularly. If you're a degenerate like me, I can probably just sort of ignore whatever my quest is and just sort of hit it and have no problem.
I wouldn't leave this last one till the last day or two, but
I would not either. No, that seems
because you could definitely crank these other 2 out like last minute if you needed to, but the final one might take you a little longer. And then the daily quests seem to be pretty easy. Play 3 games of rank, summon 50 minions, cast 15 spells, play 30 cards, that kind of thing. Discover 10 times, trigger 15 death rattles. Yeah, these all seem pretty simple. Nothing too outrageous. So that's cool. Thanks, Imic, for putting this together. He's got the timeline here. It starts May 13th and it ends June 3rd to accomplish all of this. So that's pretty sweet. I do love that Hearthstone is just continually doing more of these events. I feel like I get a little spoiled with Warcraft Rumble because they have events constantly, up to 3 events going on at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Like, where are my event
I've
jobs?
gotten, I know, I've gotten used to that. And then when Hearthstone has nothing, I'm like, come on. I'm pretty sure Warcraft Realms got this like small little itty bitty team. That's how I imagine it, anyways, right? How like Hearthstone started off as this small itty bitty team. I'm like, they've got so much events and so much going on. And it makes me think like, come on, Hearthstone. But yeah, Hearthstone, if you really think about it, over the years, they've really stepped stuff like this up. So I think it like, what was Fire Festival was the original event
Yes.
that would repeat.
Free
and you
to
get, like,
play
once a year.
Schmoopydady of days of yore, free to play Schmoopydady would be in heaven with all of these like free. I would feel like so excited, like, oh, I get an extra pack. I remember the pack rubbing and like the gold saving and like,
Or getting to play free arena games.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yeah, it's cool. No, it's like, and this doesn't cost them much, and I think the return is a much better player experience that is reflected in a more loyal player base to just stick it out and play more.
next up in the news, we have, and this is also, I'm going to plug Imic here again. He's put together on Hearthstone these, I guess, shop updates where what he's doing is just getting everything that's currently in the Hearthstone shop and giving you a giant summary of it and a timeline of when it entered the shop, when it's going to leave the shop, and how much everything costs. So you can kind of just see it all in one place. And I thought we could sort of highlight this a little bit because there's some bundles for some signatures. We've got some new hero skins and stuff that you can get. But here's an example, right? So for Nightmare Lord, Xavius, and Ceaseless Expanse, he's got the cost here in runestones, how much it's going to be, and then time left with a countdown, right? There's 5 days,
With a countdown.
13 hours, 28 minutes, 3 seconds left. Currently, if you want to get this, right?
Imic is counting.
Imic is counting. Or if you just want the Ceaseless Expanse, you can get it for 3,000 runestones. And then same with the other card there, 3,000. You'd think that you'd get a savings by buying. Oh, it is. Yeah, you save 1,000 runestones by buying both, right? But there's a bunch of hero skins. We got the new bundles here. So there's like the Kerrigan like mega bundles. You get like both the skins, and it's like $89. And once again, here you got 26 days. This used to like worry me because some things would show up in the shop and you'd never know like when they're leaving and like when should I get it and that sort of stuff. And he seems to have all the information here. It says this one started on April 29th and it's leaving June 3rd. And then there's smaller options, right? So that one was $89.99 and 9,000 runestones. And then there's smaller ones for $59.99, 6,000 runestones. And there's also a $29.99 with 3,000 runestones as well. So there's like 5 or 6 different options. And then it goes all the way down into just some other stuff like 15 standard packs you can currently get for $9.99. There's the one legendary card, 15 standard packs for $15.
Oh, silver.
That kind of thing.
The ranked bundles. I forgot about the ranked bundles. Ooh, I might have to do that.
Yeah,
I might have to play some standard. If they're giving standard cards again, for a minute they were not giving away standard cards for the ranked bundles, and it felt like
like in the standard packs.
Yeah, they weren't doing standard packs. They were doing like Year of the Raptor packs. No, Year of the whatever. I don't know. That previous year, and I'm like, these are useless. But standard packs.
Looks like standard packs are back.
Standard packs for me are next expansions packs. So I might actually have to play some standard. Damn.
Well, there you go. This is a really handy tool.
Pulled me back in.
I might share the link to this. It's in the show notes for everyone, but I might put the link to this in the description of the episode just so you can see all the stuff. Like here's an example of 11 tavern tickets you can get for for $20. So I'm guessing that's a savings on what you would pay.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit. I think if you're gonna pay with real money, it's like $2 per arena run.
Yeah. So if you like arena
gold, yeah.
That's a way to do it. But everything's here in one place. It's super cool. You can scroll through. He's done a really good job. I like how everything pops like when you highlight it. Good job, Imic. And then next up in the news, we did have a patch. This was like a hot fix, which did drop a few days back. So one was about arena. So I was going to ask you, I don't know how much arena you've played recently, but they removed Reckless Apprentice, right?
Yeah.
So that's the mage, fire your hero power and everything, right?
Yes.
And that they've reduced the appearance of Bitterbloom Knight, Flutterwing Guardian. Those are imbue cards, right? And then Wildfire is the mage card that increases your hero power by 1.
So you were getting imbue mages that were basically imbuing like over and over and over and over again, and then Reckless Apprentice would just blow people out like it kind of does in Wild. We'll talk about it a little bit later when we talk the Wild meta, but like imbue mage is very much a not popular deck in Wild, and so in Arena it was even less popular. It's like, oh my god, I can't even play Arena. I'm stuck playing imbue mages again. And Reckless Apprentice making the pew pew missiles go off multiple times for each enemy was very funny.
Yeah, that sounds awful. I get it. I get why they would remove that. So good quality of life change, and that's just general bug fixes and game improvements. There was Aspects Embrace is back to drawing a card. Was that broken?
I guess. I don't know.
Do you know? Yeah. No. They're preventing Cliff Dive from destroying minions from a deck.
Yes. Yeah. So like Cliff Dive was like you'd like get your like Briar Sprawn Drake, and it would come out and it would trigger off the Cliff Dive, and it would die, and then it would go back into your deck, so you could Cliff Dive it again later. Like it wasn't like staying dead, and it was returning to your deck, and that was kind of a problem.
Gotcha. Yeah, it says we're also preventing Cliff Dive from returning a dead minion back to deck. The cycle of the dive.
I saw it happen a couple times, and I thought it was very funny, but like it's not supposed to happen.
And then apparently, Corpse Explosion was ending prematurely.
Yeah, so if you had like a big like reborn starship, it was like killing the starship, and then like still be corpses left. The starship would come back, and it'd still be there with reborn. Like just like so Corpse Explosion will now completely delete it. It will completely yeet it. It was hard to say what, because of the way they phrased it. They're being cute. They're like, it'll now use every single corpse, every single one. And that people are like, wait, is this like you play this and like you clear a 5 health board and it clears out all 11 of your corpses? Like what does this mean? Right? Is it a nerf? And it's not a nerf, it's a buff. And so like if anything, it's more likely to clear whatever you're annoyed about. So just keep ripping your corpse explosions.
So matchmaking issues have been addressed. So apparently highly ranked players were matching up with people that were not so highly ranked. So it states here that they will now be matched with players closer to their rank. So does this mean longer queue times for the echelon of Hearthstone players up in Top Legend?
I don't think so, but what you'd get like somebody who is like rank 1, 2, or rank 3, or rank 4, like just somebody who's up there, and then all of a sudden they queue into somebody who is on like Bronze Chicken. Well, not Bronze Chicken.
That's
like
weird.
Bronze 5, and it's a bot, and it's like autocomplete hunter, and they're not playing cards, they're just hitting the hero power. Like it's like they queue into like a non-match that like if they did somehow mess up would like completely plummet their MMR. And so it was some more sort of like, MMR recursive back on itself, like twist, what a twist, black hole type crap that was happening, and they're like, all right, we're gonna just stop this from happening now.
I didn't realize it was that bad. I thought that maybe this was
not often, but it would
50.
happen once in a while.
Okay. Yeah, I was in my head. This is like you're say like top 50, top 25, and you're queuing into someone that's like 1,500 or something, and they were trying to reduce.
No, it was more extreme
that.
It was it was a little bit more. It was a little bit more of a problem. It was actually a worse problem in something like Twist, where there's so few players anyway. I remember Doc Delight was attempting to try and hit rank 1, and he kept queuing on 2, and he would queue into occasionally like the same bronze 6 drooler with like a jade druid that like didn't have jades or whatever. Like, I don't know, like it was weird that you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm queuing into someone this bad right now. It's a non-game. And the thing is like, it's not even like, oh, yay, free win. Like, these are people that are, like, they don't need to play because it's a meaningless format with no actual, like, incentives for having a high placement in Wild, right? There's nothing there except for the, like, you know, personal pride. And so they'd be waiting, like, 7 or 8 minutes for this game, and then it's a non-game. And then they're going to have to wait another 7-8 minutes for the next one. You know, so, like, it was more annoying than anything. They're like, ugh, I can't believe this is wasting my time.
Well, I think that's all we have for the news, and we can move into our discussion topic. So we thought we'd touch on the meta a little bit, and to kick it off, we got, as Ogre has stated in this tweet, monthly Corbett tweet is in, boys. So we got a tweet by James Corbett, and basically just put this is data from Firestone, and basically what are the top decks in Wild currently, and not too surprising to see what's at the top here. It's the XL Call to Arms Paladin, but what is surprising is actually there's 4 decks here. 4 of the top like dozen decks are all Paladin. So we got the XL Call to Arms Paladin. We've got Libram Paladin just behind it. So Call to Arms Paladin is at 59% win rate. Libram Paladin is at 54.5%. And then just regular Call to Arms Paladin, or as Schmoopydady would say, Flat Earthers, is at 54.2%.
Not quite, but yes.
Right. And then 2 ranks down from that, we have the XL Highlander Paladin at 52%. That's a lot of Paladin, Schmoopydady. If you don't mind, do you want to give a bit of a breakdown of what you see here from James Corbett?
Yeah, like, okay, so what Corb was really excited about was the fact that Donkey finally set the filter so that it was separating XL Call to Arms Paladin from the 30 version. Because if you looked at the stats for Call to Arms Paladin when it was all under one umbrella, and then you looked at the top performing decks, the deck that was performing better and had a larger sample size was XL Call to Arms Paladin. So this was a fairly new like meta shift, kind of a la when we discovered that something like Even Paladin was good not that long ago in a different expansion, far, far, far away. Back in Badlands, I believe it was. It was like the 28th, 29th, 30th of the month, we discovered the deck, and then all of a sudden it's everywhere the next day. I played the deck, and it gave me like best deck in the format vibes fairly quickly. I wasn't quite understanding how I was winning, but I was winning. You play Order in the Court, and your next top decks are Beam, Torith, or Mysterious Challenger. And then after that, you start finding your 4-drops. Obviously, eventually, here come your Ancestors' Calls or your Crusaders' Auras, and you just sort of blow out the opponent. But you run Weblords, and Weblords are very, very good in this meta right now. There's a lot of battle cries running around. And the deck also really beats up on Draka Rogue, which at the top 100 is, I think, considered the best deck in the format. Because a lot of the people that are playing the deck are actually animation cheating. There was one person who was getting multiple accounts on the same server up to top 10 with the same username, just like slightly different numbers shifted around, but they were doing it by cheating. So I wouldn't expect Draka Rogue to be around for ever. I know it's already on Blizzard's radar as like, hey, is this something that we have to handle about in Wild? If the cheating continues and if they can't be properly policed, I think you're looking at some sort of nerf to it. I don't know what they do, but like they're probably going to do something kind of extreme to kill it, right? Because like these are the kind of decks that they want to kill. Is like the fact there's an animation cheating aspect to it, and like you're sitting there watching a bunch of cards fly by. Like they always hit these decks.
I was just going to say Draka Rogue is sitting on this list at 4th from the top at 54%, but it actually has one of the higher play rates at 4.5% of the meta, which is significantly higher than Call to Arms Paladin is 2%, right? So it's more than like just the regular version. It's more than twice the amount.
So this is fun about like Paladin, Stone, and Wild, right? Can you read for me the play rates on like those top four meta decks in top 1K?
Yeah, so we have for XL Call to Arm Paladin, we've got 3.1%. Libram Paladin, 3.8%. Call to Arms Paladin, so 30 version, is 2%. And then it spikes here at the APM Draka Rogue is 4.5%.
Oh, no, I was looking for like the Highlander Paladin. What's the Highlander Paladin at?
Oh, the Highlander Paladin is also quite high, actually. It's got a 52% win rate and is 4.2% popularity.
Okay, so like if I remember correctly, we're looking at like 2%, 4%, 2% again, and then what was the last one? Sorry, the Highlander Paladin. That's at
Highlander Paladin is 4.2.
4.2. Okay, so like we're roughly like adding up to. If you also throw in Exodia Paladins, which people hate, all right, yeah, there's a lot of things to hit here. There's a lot of things to touch. There's a lot of Paladin. It's roughly like a fifth of the meta, but it's spread across like 5 or 6 different versions of decks. So,
yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of variety in Wilds, which I think we outlined when Sheep and I did our 62 deck episode, which Sheep, that madman, was going through and like trying to like put codes in the notes and like timestamp it, and we like ran out of timestamps and ran out of characters, and it just like
there's so many timestamps they don't even show up on the video. Like,
oh my God.
They work if you click on them, but there's so many that they actually don't show up on the timeline.
Like, he did his best, and we were trying to fly our way through. So like, yeah, there's a lot of Paladin, but also like there's a lot of different types of Paladin, which is very funny to watch people argue out of the same side of the mouth. We're just like, oh, I wish there's more variety in Wild. All I face is Paladin, and then I play against Paladin. And I don't know what kind of Paladin I'm playing against, and I'm like,
that's called variety.
So I don't know how to mulligan because I don't know what Paladin I'm playing against. I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's always kind of fun. I'm gonna probably not make some friends with the. You want a Grumpy Daddy take on the meta?
Introducing Grumpy Daddy.
Yeah, the following 3 decks suck, and they're bad. And if you're losing to them, you're playing a deck that's bad. Exodia Paladin, Libram Paladin, Imbue Mage. These are not real decks. These are not serious decks. These are noob stompers. So if you're losing to these consistently, you're a noob. And I'm sorry. If you want to stomp those decks in turn, play one of the Call to Arms lists. something about the sauce in XL Call to Arms. I think it's the secret synergy with Torith, where like you're giving things bubbles and they're dying and they're coming back with bubbles, and the bubbles take multiple hits and they just sort of stick around forever, with web lords and trapdoor spiders also having bubbles, and then you Crusader Aura them down. I think it's something to do with the secret synergy that makes it better than just the 30 version. You'd say, 30 version's always better. I'm always finding my beam. I always find my Call to Arms. And it's like, yeah, but it's also a very linear deck, right? Like you can do a little bit more scam. There's a little bit more flexibility in the XL version built in naturally because you've got stuff like Divine Brew and Torith, and so you can get a little stupid with how you build your boards. Shumi Mami hit Day 2 Legend with XL Call to Arms Paladin. So like, yeah, it's
nice.
Deck works, dog hunts. Weblord absolutely massacres your Exodia Paladin. Slows it down so much that it's like, I can't turbo what I want to turbo. You might let them play their Nas, but then like, or actually you'd never do you? You just drop the Nas and you're like, all right, it's going to come down turn 6. If Exodia Paladin has to wait till turn 6 to do the Nas, what are you even doing? Like what does that deck do other than play like Goldshire Footman and Mistress of Mixtures for a little while? So that's one way you can get around that. Imbue Mage, all the stuff that matters is Battlecry, and so Weblord messes with them. And Libram Paladin passes turns 1 through 3, right? Like the most powerful thing they're doing on turn 1 is maybe playing a Dire Mole. The most powerful thing they're doing on turn 3 is like equipping a 3/2 weapon. Now, the turn 4, they can do a pretty like huge power swing because all of a sudden all their stuff is 0 and they can do a stat dump. But you know what stops that from happening? Weblord. They can't play their Dire Moles that they want if you coin out the Weblords and they've played Crystology or something silly like that. You could really jam them up. So like that's like first and foremost. That's what I'm gonna say is like if even if you're homebrewing and you're looking for like I need to beat these decks, there's 2 things you can do: Weblord. Okay, Weblord, Theatar, something that shuffles the order, like something that just obnoxious, interferes with the opponent's hand. Beat the noob decks. Once you're beating the noob decks, now you have a bot belt of Shadow Priests. The Shadow Priests have been beating the noob decks. So like they're like the next tier above. Then you play something that beats the Shadow Priests. And then you can actually queue into a pretty varied meta where there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
One of the higher represented decks is the Fatigue Demon Hunter, coming in at 5th place. That's sitting at 5.7% of the meta, and actually has on this list the second highest, I guess, submissions for this sample size. Anyway, sitting at like 3,857 games from whenever this was recorded, which is a lot higher than a lot of them. Right, so like the Call to Arms XL Paladin is like under half the amount of games played.
Yeah, so the thing is it doesn't have any battle cries, so it actually does pretty okay into Call to Arms. Like there's sometimes it doesn't, but like by and large, it's pretty okay with like 1 beam, 1 showdown. It's okay with like, well, I can just drop like buffed brutes. We can eat an Omayog or 2. Like we'll be fine. It's speculated by people like KVLT that Questline Demon Hunter is the best deck in a conquest format where you can ban a matchup. So like if you can just ban Shadow Priest, it's pretty favored to flat for the rest of the meta. Like you can drop brutes on 3 or 4 sometimes. You've got a great combo for the end of the turn. In fact, I think for West versus East, the whole reason my Skipper Warrior got banned is because I think it has a very favorable matchup into Fatigue Questline, into like Questline Demon Hunter, and they recognized that and said, "Oh hell no, I'm not dealing with that." So yeah, I think it's a really good deck. I just think it's a little bit of a trap because if you're queuing into Shadow Priest at all, it's allergic to Void Touched on 1. Like, yes, you can scam it. Yes, it's very possible you can get there, but it's real hard. And I think a better version that you could be playing is a 4D lifesteal version that KVLT developed. That he changed a little bit so that the draw is a little more consistent. I don't think it's the best deck in the format, but if Fatigue Questline Demon Hunter is like tier 1, this might be like tier 2, 2.5, but gets like those boosts from it eats Shadow Priest a lot easier because of the life gain and the life steal and the board clears. So like, I don't know. It's something to consider, right? Like that's what I would think about playing. Anything super spicy up here? Notice that XL Shadow Priest is towards the top, but 30 is like nowhere. It continues to just like be a solid like 5 above and like almost always better, especially in the mirror. I saw a really funny thing. People kept asking me, they're like, Schmoopy, why don't you have any like Highlander Shutterwalk Shamans on your lists when you do your lists? And the problem is, like, you look at the matchup percentage, the only good common matchup is like Shadow Priest for like Shutterwalk Shaman. If you're seeing Paladins, it's like, I
was going to mention that deck specifically because it's actually the highest play rate on the whole list right here, sitting, it's in 10th place, 10th out of 12 on here, but it's sitting at 6.2% of the meta.
Yeah, it's a pile deck. People like playing their piles.
Yeah, 4,200 games.
It's a fun pile.
I don't like it.
I don't. If there's a deck that's actually going to make me quit Hearthstone, if it's like S tier and everywhere and they never do anything about it, it's actually Reno Shutterwalk Shaman. Something about that deck when it high rolls me, or when it's like, it feels like it's so anti-aggro and like I can't get through it, but it's like a Reno deck. And it's a deck that in the past has been very fragile to aggro. And now they have like Baking Soda Volcano and Golganeth. And they've gotten a plurality of pieces that now irritate me as a swarmy aggro main when I'm trying to climb during the beginning of the month. So like, yeah, like, I like, if you look at the other matchups outside of Shadow Priest, it's not great. I think Paladin is a weird one because the Call to Arms Paladin, if they have Devolve and they can play around Oh My Og, it's kind of free because you just devolve Weblord and now your deck works again. If they don't find Devolve and the Paladin gets 1 or 2 Weblords down, it's like GG's, game over for the Paladin. So it's this very weird tension of like who has the nuts and who doesn't have the nuts, and did your Call to Arms pull the important cards, and like did you play the Nerebar Weblord on 1 or 2, followed by like a drink on top of it the turn at, like how well did you protect your key cards? So like that matchup's weird, and like everything else that like Shutterwalk would see very like frequently is just a bad matchup. So like I don't know. The other one that you don't see on here is well, it does have a Hostage Mage up there, right? Yeah, XL Hostage Mage. Another really good Conquest deck. It has a shout for the best deck in the format, but it hasn't gotten any new tools, and so people aren't super excited about it. And I don't see a ton of them, but it's still a very effective deck. So like that one's fine. Wouldn't be something I suggest climbing with, because like Hostage Mage, for God's sake, like you're asking yourself to like the games that you win, you're like going 20-25 minutes on purpose. So like I don't know. It's fun though. It is a fun deck.
You would find it fun.
Sorry.
There are certain decks that I just can't subscribe to playing. And Hostage Mage is one of them. It's just so cruel.
You like it,
right? Like,
what do you mean? It's like Sudoku. Like you're just kind of like you're there, and like you're trying to solve this puzzle. Sometimes the opponent has inserts their stuff.
You run into stubborn people that won't quit, right? Which is like me, because you never know. I don't know how many times you can get ice block, right? Like sometimes it's infinite, but if I can find that one time where you didn't get it, you lose. But like I don't concede those games. I don't concede against Hostage Mage. I take way too long. I probably could have quit and got 2 or 3 other wins on my climb instead of playing against you for half an hour.
Yeah.
But if
that's
you
why I
are sadistic enough to play that deck, I'm gonna make that win take half an hour for you. That's how I feel.
I used to feel like this about Linecracker. If I'm playing Linecracker Druid, if I'm playing Hostage Mage, and you're gonna waste my time, I already don't value my time very much. Like, I'm playing Linecracker and I'm playing Hostage Mage willingly. So clearly I'm setting myself up where my time doesn't mean anything. So I think you might just be feeding the troll, but you know what?
Maybe
you keep doing you. Cause like that's worth it.
That Linecracker's different for me because that one is challenge accepted, right? So if someone Linecrackers and gets like 1,000 armor or something, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can beat you, and it's happened, right? Like it has happened, and so that one I actually find kind of fun. Like I'm playing some like secret bonus level or some secret challenge or like doing a raid, like that kind of thing. I'm like, all right, I see what you did there. Let's see if I can actually get all that armor off of you. That one I'm not annoyed by. I'm really not. It's definitely the infinite ice blocks and freezing my board, that kind of thing, and board locking myself by accident, of course.
Yes. Yep. You saw a green card. I understand.
Yeah. Oops. But I did want to point out too, if you've noticed, the prefix on 8 out of 12 decks are all XL, actually.
Yeah, Renathal's broken. Who would have foreseen this?
Crazy, right?
It's
I mean, not
pretty
really,
broken.
but it's nuts that 8 out of 12 top decks are all XL decks.
You'd say it's nuts, but like there are people that saw this coming. They were like, "It's the worst thing that happened to Hearthstone." I don't know if they keep printing like low power level stuff, and we just sort of enter the age of Renathal, which we've been in, right? Like I've been saying for a while, if you have some sort of win condition and like you pick a class and you make it Renathal, you got an instant tier 3 deck. Right, like Reno Rogue tier 3. Reno Rogue's playable right now. There is a lot of variety, but I know it does look like Paladin Stone towards the top, but I don't know. A lot of those decks you can kind of scam, or I don't respect. I don't respect Libram Paladin. I'm sorry. I know it has good stats. I do not respect it. It passes so many turns. It's unfavored into 30 Shadow Priest, so I don't know how they climbed over the bot bubble. Maybe Showdown Beam does it. But those cards look like they suck in the list, so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they're getting there. Yeah. Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Cotton Eye Joe. I do remember there were certain people back in the day when the Highlander Reno style deck was first introduced, saying like one day, right, like. They created
all decks will be Highlander.
The wild mode,
and
saying all great decks will be Highlander decks one day, and people were laughing at it and saying like, yeah, right, whatever. But hey, proof is in the pudding.
I mean, these are actually they're not mostly Highlander. They're like
but there's a lot on the list, like the XL Highlander Paladin, XL Highlander Mage. We've got XL Highlander Shaman, XL Highlander Warrior, and XL Highlander Priest. Let's not talk about
the Warrior. The Warrior is... I've played the Warrior
half of
recently.
The list.
The Warrior recently. So. I don't know what matchup specifically the Warrior's picking on. I guess it's picking on Call to Arms Paladin, but I don't believe it.
I don't know why that one's here either, but...
It's a Chinese 30 list that is like the soup du jour flavor of the day. It's 30 and they cut Reno. Like you're going all in on
it says it's XL.
Oh, XL Highlander Warrior. Okay, never mind. That's not the list I'm thinking of. Yeah, Warrior's fine.
It's still a small sample though. This one is 1.6%, and yeah, it's got like a third of the games played as the rest of them. So
Yeah, it's
a lot less.
Low sample size. You start,
But there's somebody out there who's playing it that got it on the list though, right?
Yeah, it got there. It got there. Yeah, so like other things that might be better decks that have like once Highlander Warrior has enough games to reach the same percent of play as some of the other decks, its win rate's probably going to be lower and other stuff's going to get boosted. That's a little Yeah, I don't know. I feel like decks are going more XL, but they aren't necessarily going Highlander. And I think it's because some of the Highlander payoffs are just sort of getting out. Honestly, they're getting outpaced. Like Kazakus. Who plays Kazakus anymore? Like, it's just play Mixologist. It's 1 mana cheaper, and you're picking the one option anyway because you need to kill aggro right now. So like, there's already been a transition away from like a lot of the Highlander payoffs just not being good enough. The ones they printed were like, okay, the ones they printed were actually pretty good, and it's still not enough to like push that we have like brand new Highlander stuff. I don't know.
Now I'm like afraid of that they're gonna give us something. Now that you said that, like give us a big payoff.
Well, we already had our Highlander expansion in Badlands, so I think we've got some time before the next one. But I do think it is worth noting that, like where's Imbue Mage? Where's Exodia Mage? Like Libram Paladin is there, but like again, I think that's kind of fake. The major complaints, it's like people are kind of like experiencing like 3 different types of Hearthstone right now. There's the people that are like up where I am, where they've hit Legend and they're above the Shadow Priest bot belt, and they experience one thing, which is usually a lot of variety, a lot of different decks, but like the good Paladin decks are usually around. Then there's the people that are stuck in the like Shadow Priest bot belt, and all they're playing are Shadow Priests. And they're like, this sucks, this is boring, I just want to play against a real person. All right, farm the Shadow Priest, you'll get there. And then there's the people that are facing, like, they're like, oh man, I see so much mage. And if you change the sample size to look like, you know, much larger and a little bit more lower down, the Imbue Mage population pops way up. Exodia Paladin population pokes way up. Libram Paladin population pokes way up. Like, they're sort of experiencing another type of Hearthstone. They're like, oh man, this isn't fun. I'm always playing Imbue Mage. I'm always playing against Libram Paladin. I'm always playing against Exodia Paladin. And like, Exodia Paladin probably feels the worst of all the 3 because it's so uninteractive, except that it's like, I don't know. I call it uninteractive, but it telegraphs when you have the nuts, right? Like when they drop Nozdormu after an Order in the Court, you know they have Uther and they just gave you mana to play Theotar. So why doesn't everybody just play Theotar? I don't know. It's like it's very goofy.
Well, Sheep still seems to be having success with it. So I guess there are still noobs out there that haven't figured out how to counter it properly, because I know that he's been playing a lot of it. Like I played it basically to understand it, and I climbed with it last season.
Oh, it's a great Netflix deck. Like you play it while you're watching Netflix, and like you just turn your brain off, and it's great. They should. Yeah, it's probably bottable.
That's what I was thinking. It has to be. It has to be bottable, right? Because
one of the most linear combos ever in Wild. And I played Ignite Mage. This is more linear than Ignite Mage. I don't know how Sheep like typed up a whole page on like strategy for it. Like it's like, you know, he's really like he's milking every single cent out of the interplay in that thing. It is a very linear deck.
Hey, when you like something, right? So he's probably maybe found some like ins and outs that other people haven't. I don't know, but like you play what you enjoy, right? And if he's enjoying it still, then cool. And obviously, like I said, if it's still working,
the one thing about Exodia is like, if you look at the difference between like lower down the ladder into top 1K, its win rate goes from like 57%. At one point, it was like going from 57% to 40, like a crazy like 17% shift down. which is saying that like something that people are doing in the top meta is way better than what they're doing further down. And if that's playing Theatar after you Naz on 4, maybe. If that's like just like recognizing what you're playing against and mulliganing better, I don't know. Like there's got to be reasons there, but I think at least part of the reason is the deck is not overly complicated, and because it's not overly complicated, it's a little complicated to pilot against people who know what you're doing.
Any final comments on what you're seeing in the meta?
Mostly just that it's still a very diverse meta. People will have very specific decks that they're annoyed with. I think the one that I'm most annoyed with is Holy Wrath Paladin. I don't like just getting like feeling like I'm winning the game and then like out of nowhere like 125 to the face. Like that annoys me. But that's an annoyance. That's not like they need to fix this now or the format is like forsaken. Somebody was suggesting like nerfing Hostage Mage, and I'm like, but like nobody plays Hostage Mage. Like we see like very little. It says 4.4% in this graphic. That seems high to me. I don't even. That might be like capturing like Reno Hostage Mage as well. Like some people do that. Like it's really not often played, and it's really hard to pilot lower down the ladder. So like diverse meta, something for everybody. But if you really hate everyone and just want to win, XL Call to Arms Paladin, and mulligan for Order of the Court, Call to Arms, and if you're running a deck of Christology.
Agreed. Well, unless you have a question for me, I can ask you a question. Do you have a question for me?
Not a good one.
All right.
Unrelated Advice with Schmoopydady.
All right. So we had a discussion before the show. It was about this person on Reddit that would post and use certain words, and some of these words, a specific word, you used it on me, and I freely admitted I had no idea what the heck you were talking about. And so this word was Orgulate.
Yes.
And
Orgulate is love. Orgulate is life.
I need you to erase anything you think you may know about Orgulate, or
Yes.
anything that you've seen while trying to Google the word Orgulate, because it is probably false anyways. If you had to guess in a vacuum, you could even maybe use the sentence that this person used that word in and came up with the definition of Orgulate.
Okay.
What does Orgulate mean?
Okay, so I would do my best guess if Orgulate was put forth in front of me without any context. I would imagine it's some sort of regulation of one's organs. So if you're someone who really enjoys having 2 kidneys, you do everything in your power to keep your 2 kidneys together inside of your body, hooked up to your normal life systems, right? So like we are lating our organs, all right? We're regulating our organs. So that I'm assuming we are orgulating while we're doing that. That was not how this person ended up using that word, though. It's just something to, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we're late. We're late in the organs chat.
Wiser words have never been spoken, and you heard that on
More to be wild.
I can hear Rory approves of that definition of Orgulate. Buy your Orgulate today. Oh man, not more Orgulation.